Hello everyone, and welcome to our first episode of The Statement 2023. My name is Paul Odhiambo, and today we are speaking to a pioneer, someone who has influenced the Kenyan fashion industry for more than 2 decades. She has also been awarded by former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Today, we are speaking to none other than Akinyi Odongo, OGW. How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for creating time to speak to us. And you have been so busy.
Busy is relative, because I think I've been working. Yeah.
You've been working.
Busy doing something.
Because I remember we've wanted to have this interview for the longest time possible.
I know.
And today we are here.
Today is the day that the Lord has made.
So perhaps just tell us a little bit more about Akinyi Odongo, OGW now, even aside from the glitz and the glam that comes along with your name.
Thank you so much for this. I know it's been quite a while, getting the time to do interview, but this is the day that the Lord has made and we are here. And Happy New Year, it's 2023, the first episode. So I was born and bred in Siaya County in a village called Rangala, and I'm the second born of 6. We were 6 siblings and I'm the second born. My father was an ardent accountant, like a man of excellence, and was a buzzer for Ambira High School for quite some time, I think about 35 years. And my mom was a tailor and ran a number of businesses. So I grew up in a space where there was a lot of business going on. And my grandfather, who was a pastor and ran a church, was also adding up to be a bicycle repairer, and one was among the first people to run the welding business, where making beds for schools, making windows and doors. So, yeah, naturally grew up from an industry where, at home, where there's a lot of entrepreneurship and a lot of options to choose.
Just tell us where the journey all began, where it all began.
My mother was a tailor, and as she was doing her tailoring, I used to admire her work. And sometimes on the sides try to do my little doll clothes, or and in the village it wasn't those dolls that you're imagining. We created our own dolls. We created our own dolls. And I grew up as a very creative child, very different from my other siblings. Very outspoken, very direct, very creative, and it wasn't very easy for me because, again, understanding me wasn't quite easy. Those children that you say, this one, anatusumbua. Yeah, but it was something that I look back now, I really do appreciate that I was able to pursue what I love to do.
How did you get yourself now into the fashion industry?
The fashion space, it's been a journey. After high school, I went to St. Francis Rangala Girls, again in the village, in my same village. And after did high school, I went for military training for 2.5 years. Then I left and took a period of time where I was just, off taking care of my babies and all that. And then later on went to Evelyn's College of Design because I felt that I needed to do something. What my mother was doing, I needed to do it in a better way. So I went to college and did, and it wasn't a walk in the park. It was quite a struggle, paying the school fees and sometimes kicked out of class because I wasn't able to pay the fee. But I was very committed to doing it. It was quite a journey. And started doing clothes that I could wear myself and just reached out to people around me and asked them if they could support. And the few people who agreed to wear my designs, I could stitch for them and I get paid. Yeah, of course I started charging like 500 shillings, 800, and growing slowly, Indeed, it's been quite a journey, being as a startup, you always start as a jack of all trades. You're the accountant, the messenger, the designer, all these things that you can be in a business. And I was very determined to make sure that whatever I do it to a level that children who are growing up will have an option and say, I want to be like. I want to be like. Because one of the questions that parents or even my parents would ask me, show us one. I mean, most parents do ask their kids. If a kid say, I wanted to do music, they would be asked, show us one successful musician. You know, so everybody needs to have an example. So I was doing this in the journey. I was very intentional. And I said, I want to be that example that a child somewhere one day will stand and say, you know what, mommy, daddy, I want to be like Akinyi. Or let's go and see Akinyi. And then when someone comes to see what you've been able to, they can actually attest and say, indeed, this is a career like any other career.
Taking an example of our parents back then, when you go to a training, they will expect you to take that route. Yeah. So how did you defect from that route?
It's not even defecting. I think things changed around my life, and I opted to move away from that direction. But then, as a believer, I believe that every step of my life was for a reason, and it has a purpose in it. The 2.5 years in the military training has helped me to be where I am today. It has really worked because, again, I'm very particular. Street people say I'm strict, no nonsense. But I'm just, you know, it helped me be more structured as opposed to be just somebody who just, you know, loiters around or throw things around. If it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's a no, it's a no. If it's tomorrow, it's tomorrow. If it's today, it's today. So somehow it trained me to be very determined, and also to be very focused no matter what challenges you face. Because in the training, when they say you unatoa uraia, it's not an easy thing. You know, when you've got the boots, everything is different and painful. You know, even wearing the boots. Oh my, oh my, oh my! By the time you wear them, and you know, you get blisters, and they burst inside, and they heal, and they, you know, when your skin peels off, you know, because you wake up early in the morning to go and do the runs in the morning, and it's very cold. And you have to peel the skin. They say that is uraia inatoka. Now you become a real soldier, you know. And somehow after they've peeled off, nothing really scares. So you really go through some things that make you not get so scared. It has helped me in my journey, even in entrepreneurship, where for me everything has to be done the way they should be done. Yeah. So there's no excuse about it. Yeah. So
from there now you went to college, and where was Akinyi Odongo now the trademark? Where was it?
Yeah, but in Bali. Like, oh my God, that's a whole long journey. Because I got away from home, started my business, you know, doing everything myself. Then one time I think I moved out of the house to go and open a shop. I was first subletted in a chemist. There was a lady called Lucy, God bless her. She had a chemist on Natuko, just opposite Nakumatt Prestige. So she allowed me she sublet me behind. So she had an extra room at the back. So that's where I started my business. And also I do believe in doing things right, you know, getting the licenses and everything. And I remember my first day of opening that place, I'd not even gotten the license. And city council people came, they showed up. And they're like, Mom, like the first, I'm like, I haven't even unpacked. I'm just coming to set up. Why you have to pay? And of course, I don't believe in corruption or giving kickbacks or anything. I said, it's fine. So, yeah, they say, I will carry your tailor. I said, okay, you just go with him. I'll go pay a bill and do the right thing, you know. It just got me. That was my first day of opening a business. I was like, what? This is business. And after that, in the one room, we were able to grow step by step, and then later on moved on from the chemist being sublet to a shop that was falling vacant. Again, still in Natucourt. That's where we stayed. It was now a bigger, slightly bigger shop. So I had the tailors at the back room, and then the front room and the reception. So we were able to do something that is decent. And as we kept, you know, doing it, and clients coming in, and we are serving with a lot of diligence, you know, discipline, diligence, doing the right thing. And that's what we continue doing today, and even in anything that I start. You know, people normally say that tailors, the only good fundi is the one who shaves your hair, because every other person you'll be having bad experiences. So for us, even bringing in, if you bring in your fabric, if it is left, there's a leftover, we'll always give it back to you. We're very timely in terms of if your fitting is due, you'd be able to come and get your fitting at the right time. And, you know, being just focused and doing this made people come, refer each other to us, and our business kept on growing. And then people started asking, Akinyi, where did you train? I said, I trained locally. Because people just thought that, no, you can't have, there's no way you're a locally trained designer. And I said, no, we actually are local. And 100% local, 100% Kenyan in every aspect that we were dealing with. And then people started asking, do you train? Can you train my daughter? Can I bring my child? Can I bring my son? And I was like, hold on a minute, this is an opportunity that I can actually move into. And then I got a second little shop in the same place, and I started doing trainings where people could come. I trained them on pattern drafting, cutting. That was in about 2010, 2011. And then from there, my business first was a sole proprietor, which was called Mefa Creations. Then I moved, then I now did Mefa Art Center as a limited company, where we're envisioning to have training of arts and then with the fashion and all that. And I started having students come one by one, you know, just casual training, and doing kids camps in after school holiday camps, where we do art, painting, drawing and all that. And it grew. But then again, we needed to start shifting, because again, as you do business, you have to flow and say what is working, what is not working. So some mistakes, you make some mistakes, you know, keep pushing. Then after that, we moved. I felt that again we were growing, so we moved into a now bigger place in Riara Road. That is Hekima College. We were there for 10 years until COVID hit. So when COVID hit, we were able to, we couldn't be able to pay, because like one whole year without doing business, we were not able to like pay for it for that period of time. So we had to pack our things back to storage and see. Yeah, and then comes Akinyi Odongo, Kenya. Yeah, because initially I was using Evelyn Odongo, and you called me Akinyi Odongo. I was like, hey, Apana, don't call me those names. Yeah, no, not here. Me, I'm more polished, you know. But as I started working on, you know, saying that I want to grow my brand to the next level, because every stage I reached, I was like, no, I need to push myself. I need to push. There's something better that we can still be doing. So we went then they said I need to register a school that is able to now do a college officially. I needed to grow a brand that is international. So I started asking myself, what does it take to go international? What does it take to be a designer of you know, top excellence and just go and benchmark? So I started engaging a number of government institutions. By then there was EPC, now currently it's called Brand Kenya. You know, KIPI, you know, for the registration of the trademark. You know, engaging with KRA. You know, people fear KRA. Just wanting to know, how do I do things right? What do I need to register? How do I need to work this? And then I also started traveling abroad and saying, let me go and benchmark with Europe, benchmark with America, benchmark with other parts of Africa, and just see what is it that we can't do as Africans? Like, why, you know? So it was such a bold move to take, and a number of people around me were like, Akinyi, you know, who tells you high-end will work? And why using your name? You know, we're now transitioning to use my name. And I'm like, I've traveled and I've seen people using their names, and there's no problem with them using. There's no problem them using their names, but there's a problem and me as an African using my name. So let me try. It was a tough one. Those guys were like, certain communities won't buy your brand because it's obviously from a certain community. But then for me, I had to stick in and dig in and say, it's not about a name or it's not about a community, but it's about the work. All I need to do is to keep working and perfecting my work, because you're not coming to me because I'm Luo, or Kikuyu, or Kamba, or Kalenjin. You're coming to me because of my work. So I had to really push myself, to do more. And went through the registration, trademarked Akinyi Odongo Kenya, registered, and the rest is history. The rest is history. Yeah.
So at some point, building your career, it's not a walk in the park.
No, it's not at some point. The fact is, it is not a walk in the park. It's not a walk in the park. I know to some people, to start a business, it's easy. Probably you'll have capital, you'll have, there are people who start businesses with money ready. Like they have 10 million and they want to start, or they have 5 million and they want to start. But I think a lot of people fall in the category that maybe I fell in, that you really have to think and have to create and recreate and restructure and just build. But I've always also believed in starting where I am and building it up. When I mentor people across, I meet a lot of people. When I ask people, what is your greatest challenge? Why are you not starting? They say, I don't have money. I don't have capital. I say, no, you don't need money to start. I didn't have money when I was starting. All I had was my hands, my legs, my mouth, and I had a machine that a friend of mine gave me. May the God rest her soul, she passed on last year. She was called Mrs. Okore. She gave me a home machine that I started using. So that is all I had. I did not have 20,000 shillings or 100,000 shillings to say, let me start. I had my mouth, a machine, my leg, my mind, and my hands. I could sit on that machine, stitch, walk around in the streets of Nairobi, meet people, say, excuse me, I'm a tailor, can I make your outfits? Some will chase you away, some will accept you. Going to fit people in their offices because I didn't have an office. We go to the washrooms, we fit, go pin, I carry it back, go back home, do it again. And it's what I want to believe most people fall in that category, where you literally are starting from bare minimum. And I keep telling people, don't be discouraged. Whatever dream or whatever thing you want to do, it is doable. You don't need to have money. Some may not agree with me, but that's what I believe in. You cannot stop because you do not have money. Yeah.
And of course, when you say that fitting in to an industry, I'm sure you came along when there were people.
When you get into an industry, you find those who've been there before, they are known, they've been there before, there are functions that are there, but you can never fit. It's called for more. I hear nowadays it's called for fear of missing out. Yeah. So you really try as a small brand that is growing to fit in, but you find you almost feel like your blood even rejects it. Like your body, you move into spaces, you just feel you're rejected. Like nobody wants you in that space. And it's not an easy space to be, I remember as a young designer, applying for even the shows that were going on. I would never qualify. I sit down and say, oh my God, maybe I can't qualify. And then you're seeing others are going to having fashion. You're like, oh, I wish I could be like so and so. And you can get really drowned in that space and get depressed. But one thing I did was like, okay, not accepted, fine. Is the problem me? I don't think so. Do I need to work hard? Keep working. So I just kept increasing and pushing myself. And one thing I've learned in that journey, that you just have to find and create your space and don't be a copycat. I think this is the most painful and the most sad thing that I've been able to see in the fashion industry. That a designer would work very hard to create a brand or to create a look or to create something that is synonymous to them. If you saw a Kiko Romeo, you'd be able to know that's Kiko. That's, yeah, and that's something that someone has taken years to build. But then you'll find that there are people who don't respect that. And one of the things that I've learned also is because most of these people without the education in the industry, like you haven't gone to school to study what fashion is. So it's like a fun thing that you just think, let me do it because it's a business. So you lack the respect of people's intellectual property. So those are some of the things that for me I've learned, that even if you're in the space, create your own space, create your own identity. You can be inspired by somebody else, but create your own identity. Yeah.
There has been a conversation on intellectual property where fashion law right now is trying to creep up. Do you think there's something that can be done perhaps to patent, let's say, someone's design on something?
I mean, a lot is being done. There are things that I think we as designers don't take them up. And sometimes you may want to be copying somebody, but you don't know how they've protected themselves, which again will be able to get you into a lot of trouble. It's something that I know that is being worked on, and it's one of the agendas that I'm going to take very seriously moving forward in regard to educating designers and more young designers in regard to developing their identity and building it, and how to also protect their work and the steps that they need to take, which I've been able to take. And what I've also learned, even as I work with KP and all this, copyright, it's people assume a lot. Yeah, we as creatives, we do assume a lot. We are very excited to get our designs out before we do what we need to have done. Yeah, so there's a lot of education that is needed there. And even in our school at MEFA Institute of Design, it's one of the topics that we really take seriously to teach the students that intellectual property and respecting people's work is very important.
We have seen some polished fashion brands, the likes of Mambo Pambo, we talk of Zanta Dede, and so many brands. Was this perhaps the main reason you started Fashion Agenda Africa to mentor?
Thank you for mentioning those great names, and they are designers that I do celebrate. And of course, I've had them under my wings in Fashion Agenda Africa for a period of time. Determined, focused, great designers, and just to see them blossom and grow, for me, it makes me glad that sometimes things that you envision as just basic things eventually turns out to be bigger. And the reason why I started Fashion Agenda Africa to mentor young designers across Africa, and when I say young, doesn't mean the age. You could be 45 years old or 50 years old and you've just started a business that is 1 year old or 2 years old. So with the experience that I had in the industry, like trying to fit in, trying to figure, swim, it's like you get into the industry like you're used to swimming in a baby pool, and then you're going out there to swim in an ocean. I mean, it's so different. You can easily die. Several times I've gasped for air in that process. So with the experiences that I had to seek God and ask, what can I do? Whatever I have gone through, no one else deserves to go through it. What is the solution that can be created? And I said, if I'm able to mentor and hold other designers' hands, it would be better to create more brands for the Kenyan industry, and more brands that are exceptionally doing very well, very good finish, quality work, international standards. And because I've tried and I've seen it's possible, yeah, with all the challenges that we have, it is doable and possible. So having a number of young designers under my wings in Fashion Agenda Africa, and it's not just in Kenya, but in 9 African countries, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, South Sudan, Tanzania, Rwanda, Botswana. Botswana is the biggest, which are the biggest number. I've seen the results, that I've seen brands grow from nothing to something. And that gives me joy that I said, even if I pass on, I mean, I've left some mark. I've taught them that lighting another person's candle does not dim your light. In fact, that's the slogan of Fashion Agenda Africa, when I light your candle, I can only make the space brighter, because we'll have many candles that are lighting and make Africa more even brighter. But there's a scarcity mentality that we have in Africa that I think if I show you or if I guide you, then you'll take away my light. Yeah? And anybody who thinks that by lighting is take away your light, or you take somebody else's light, it means that you have a very scarcity mentality. The cake is so big, there's space for everyone. So if I can make someone's life better and make their journey easier, so be it. So Fashion Agenda Africa, I'm proud that we've been able to really achieve a lot. One of my mentors, who is Miles Monroe, that I really looked up to, may God rest his soul, that was actually part of his journey that, you know, you'd like to, he wanted to say, I want to die empty. And in one of his preachings on the book, somewhere it's written that if you go to the graveyard, the richest place is whether you call it cemetery or graveyards. That's where people have died with ideas. Guys have died with mind-blowing ideas that can never be used. So I decided to challenge myself that I know it's a journey in life, and whatever I know, I've always asked myself, who else can benefit from it? How can my knowledge, my expertise, or my experiences be of help to someone else? So it's a life purpose, it's very intentional, and I will keep repeating that I would like to die, and I want to die spent 99, if not 100%, spent. Yeah, I write my ideas. I have my idea bank where I do my ideas. You know, my children know whether they'll go look at it, so that those ideas are there. I may not be the one to implement them, but either my grandchildren, great will find where my ideas were, and they'll be able to implement. Every journey that I walk, everything that I do, who are you passing the baton to? I've got a number of designers that I work with closely that I'm able to nurture and walk steps by step. And I want to believe that every vision that I have, there's somebody else there who will take it to the next level. Not a very normal thing that is being done, because mostly people say it's me, myself, and I, and I want to own it all. But I think sometimes it's not about the money, but it's about what are you leaving behind when you die. And I'm sure I will have left a lot of marks and footprints in every area that I've stepped.
And talking of ideas, could you just tell us more about Wanawatindo?
Wanawatindo, and that's why I call myself a multi-pioneer. I'm always starting, things that I feel are solutions to the problems that I have faced. Because God doesn't allow you to go through something for nothing. He's a God of order. He's a God of, insights as well. So I grew up as a child who was not understood per se because I was a creative. I wasn't like the others. And even in school, teachers, I remember I was told in school, you'll amount to nothing. Art will take you nowhere. And these are things that I'm very sure that many kids or many people have gone through. They've lost in their life either because either someone loved carpentry and your parents say, or your teacher said, useremala itakupeleka wapi, Yet that person would have been the most amazing fitter, buildings. Like real estate is a huge thing, fittings. And people get a lot of money out of it. So for Wanawatindo was an answer to my prayer as a child, where I wished I got space that I could learn some of the skills that I wanted. And because I'm in the fashion space, so Wanawatindo is a fashion school for children, ages between 6 to 17, where they're able to come and learn fashion and even create their brands at a young stage. Because for us, it was not even thinkable to own a brand or to own a business as a young person. So we have very clear course outline, which is in 5 stages that as a child has to do from stage 1 to stage 5. And we have Sindano, Cherahani, Takamali, where we teach them sustainability and all that. We have Mwanabiashara. So later on, they're able to open their business. And we have kids who've already done with us who are running their fashion businesses. And they're selling and they're making money. And of course, with the guidance of their parents, and then we are able to work with the parents, close. And it's so amazing that the parents who have registered their children are the ones who really see the importance of that. I've met children who really want to be part of it, but then they say the parent doesn't see the importance. Like, why should I pay for my child to go and do that course? You know, but there are parents who are able to accept, and that's what we do at Wanawatindo, just to make sure that we nurture the young talents to the level of understanding the fashion business and to also run it as a business. And then also exposing your child to her area or his area of interest. Because a child may say, oh, I want to be a fashion designer. They think it's just glam and fun and not lazing around. When they come and do the program, they realize, oh, this thing is not a joke. You know, it's a lot of work. And probably could help them also direct them to say, oh, I don't want to be a designer. I think, let me go be a pilot, or let me go be a doctor. Because now you've given them an opportunity to test what they thought they would be. Then their mind could change, which means, again, we've helped a child to identify where they really want to be.
And it's close to the new curriculum that has been introduced.
CBC.
The CBC. You know.
I am an ardent supporter of CBC. I love CBC. And my daughter is amongst the first, actually the pioneering class. And I've watched her, you know, do her work. I know parents have said, oh, it's a difficult, it's involving, but I'm like, you should be part of your child's life. You have to create time to be with them. And maybe there are parents who are not able to create the time to be with their kids. But as busy as I am, I purposely make sure that I create time to make sure that whatever is being done is being done. And she does her own homework. I don't do it for her. You know, just do the guidance. And the fact that even the type of report card that, you know, the assessment processes that are done, you know, they don't have like, oh, number 1, number 2, number 3, number last. And also the way it's not those ones, you know, there's very good, poor. In this one, there's nothing like poor, you know. You know, it's very, I think it's going to give children a safe space to explore who they are. Remember, if I had, they'll all laugh at me and say, Mommy, you'd have really excelled in CBC. I'm like, yes, this would have been so good for me. As opposed to where, you know, grades and segregation of, you know, people is more celebrated. Oh, those are bright, these are stupid, or because you got bottom 5 or top 10 or no. With CBC, there's no bottom 5, top 10, number 1, number 2. The grades are done. Even I mean, it's giving the children a level playing ground. Because also when the kids are young, they're not really able to tell. It's us older ones who make sure, you know, we pump into the heads, oh, you didn't perform well, you should have gotten 90, or you should have gotten 100, you should have gotten, you know. And because also with the CBC, there's sports, there's the home science, there's the cooking, there's farming. I mean, it's the best thing that has happened to this country, and I'm glad that the current administration has taken it over and maintained it. So I'm happy.